Okay, welcome. I'm Andy, and we're at eMbody Fitness, and I'm going to take you through a strength training workout today. Some strength training exercises that you can do at home. So all we're going to really use for these exercises is our body, and use our body weight as resistance. Strength training is a really important part of overall fitness. You know, cardiovascular fitness, flexibility, mobility. The strength training is where I think it's the fountain of youth. It's where we overload the muscles, and today we're going to overload the muscles with our body weight, and we're going to use time and tension of our muscles to really engage those muscle fibers. Progressive resistance strength training is one of the keys to aging well. Younger next year. We all want to be younger next year. So what can we do at home during this time when we're all at home to stay fit, to stay strong? So I always like to start my strength training program with some mobility exercises. So we're going to work some of our joints, and we're going to work through the range of motion of some of those joints. So to start off, we're going to use the big hip joint. So we're going to get that working, and these are called hip hinges. Now, in terms of repetitions and sets, some of you are going to be doing 3 sets of 20 repetitions. So we really want to overload the muscles. And by doing 3 sets of 20 repetitions or 25 repetitions, you're going to be the judge of that. So when you get to a point where it's an 8 or 9 out of 10 for that last repetition, that's where you want to be. So in terms of overload means you're gonna put some resistance on that muscle. So it's an individual thing. In body fitness, we're all about individuality. So what is your individual resistance level? When do you get to that point where, like, I can't go any further? That's the repetitions that you want to go to in terms of strength training. Now, there's been a lot of studies and research around this, especially at McMaster University. And they found that, doing lots of repetitions with a lower weight, like your body, is just as effective as lifting heavy weights in the gym in terms of the overall strength training and muscular system. And today we're really not just working muscles, we're going to look at the connective tissue. So we're going to look at our whole body connective tissue, the fascia. We're going to look at, we're going to train the ligaments, we're going to train the muscles, we're going to train the hormonal systems that work throughout our body that engage and are activated with these strength training exercises. So there's a lot that you do for your body with strength training. Okay, so let's get started. So we're going to do hip hinges first. So I like to do like 15 to 20 of these. I'm just going to do 10 of each to kind of give you the format. So we're going to pivot through that big muscle in your hip. So straight down, straight back. Keep your core engaged. And again, we talk about muscle tension. Squeeze your fingers together. Squeeze your fists. Push back. Down. That's Murray in the background there, in case you're wondering if anybody's in the gym. This is his camera we're using today, so he's going to do a little strength training in the background there. So push back, up, tall. Push back, up, tall. Your knees are soft, but your legs are straight. Okay, and we're pivoting through the hip without extending or flexing at all through your back. So 15 to 20 hip hinges. All right, next we're going to do some side steps with rotation. So we're going to work the hip rotators, so on the outside of the hips. So step to the side, turn and twist. The other way, step to the side, turn and twist. Step to the side, turn and twist. Look right in behind. Looking behind. Really pivot through those hips. Notice my knees, both of them are bending. Really work those rotators. Let's do 8 aside, 16, or 10 aside for 20, total of 20. The next one we're going to do is work the hip, the front part of our hip. We're going to extend through the hips. So we're going to do this from a plank position. So we're going to go down on the mat, hands are under the shoulders, feet together, and we're just going to step up to the side and allow that hip to drop down to the mat, extending through that hip. Keep your shoulders and arms still and move only through that hip. 2 more. Okay, standing back up. So those are good ones, feeling good through the hips, nice and mobile. So next we're going to do shoulders. So we're going to do just a little bit of shoulder, those big joints, some mobility exercises. So again, make a fist, create some tension through your shoulders and arms and lift straight up. And you'll find that when you squeeze your fists, your core gets engaged. And when your core is engaged, it doesn't mean you're going to suck in, it means you're going to push out. You're going to push down into those muscles, engage those core muscles, and stay really strong and stable through your core. So we're going to do some forward raises first. And we're going to get a little bit higher each time to really develop that range of motion. I'm keeping strong and I'm keeping all those core muscles engaged. Let's do one more. Excellent. So now we're going to do backwards. So don't lean backwards. Push back with those arms. Get some extension through your shoulders. 2 more. And then we'll do a lateral raise. So just out to the side. Again, let's just start with a smaller range of motion to shoulder level. And then as we progress, let's get a little higher, a little higher, all the way up overhead. 3 more. Get up as high as you can. 2, 1, good job. And then the last one, we're just going to do some rotator cuff rotation through the shoulders. Again, squeeze your fists, elbows tucked in at the side, and just rotate your fists out and back together. Keep your elbows tucked in at your side. And again, try to go a little bit further each time. Let's just do 4 more. Core's engaged. 2, 3, 4. Nice. Okay, so we're going to do one more mobility exercise, and this is for basically total body. I love to do this one. It's just, they're called step throughs, and we're going to do it from a bear position. So bear position is just down on our mat, on our toes and our hands, and you're going to be in a position like a bear with your butt up in the air. And what we're going to do is we're just going to rotate, and we're going to step our leg between the other leg and hand. So we're just going to come through and rotate through, and then go to the other side. So from knees bent, straighten one out, side to side, and rotate through your thoracic vertebrae, upper back. Let's just do 2 more. And then step it back up. Excellent. So if we're going to do strength training exercises and we're going to do mobility exercises, let's do them properly. So really focus on doing these good form, making sure our body's aligned and we're really engaging the muscles that we want to engage. So we're going to start with legs. Now I'm going to use a chair, and sure, everybody has a chair at home. And we're going to start with squats. So what I'm going to try and do today is give you a couple of options. So some people are going to be able to do these a certain range of motion, and they may just do 10. And some people are going to be able to do these full range of motion, and they're maybe going to do 25. We're going to do squats, and then we're going to do 1.5 squats, okay? And I'll show you what those look like. So I love to just use the bench or a chair as a guide, okay? So we're going to try and sit back to the chair. If you can get down and touch it, awesome. Not going to sit on it. We're just going to touch it. Again, we're going to think about really being engaged. Hands are tight, gripping strong, feet are flat on the floor, and we're going to squat right down, touch that chair, and come back up. So weights through the heels. Think about your knees being over top of your feet. And let's just do 10. Squeeze your core, push into it. Especially right here, your core is really engaged. 9, 10. So those are squats. So now we're going to do 1.5 squats. So if you want to progress it, make it a little bit harder, do these 1.5 squats. So these are squat 1, half. 1, half. 1, half. Five more. Two more. Five. Nice. Okay, and I'm feeling those. No weights, just body weight, time under tension. So with the 1.5 rep, we're putting more time onto those legs. So the legs have more time under tension. Next exercise we're going to do is deadlifts. So we're going to do single leg deadlifts, 3 variations. Okay, so the first one we're going to do is all the weight on the right leg. We're going to keep the toe of the left leg on the ground, and we're going to hold on to the chair for support. And the deadlift, we're going to keep this leg still, okay? So we're going to keep the right leg still and straight. The knee is a little bit soft, core is engaged, and we're just going to reach down and back up. Okay, so reach down and then back up, pull up through the core. Pull yourself down and then push off the heel, really engage your glutes and your hamstrings. Second variation, holding onto the chair, we're going to go down and the left leg is going to come up off the ground. So down, touch, back up. Let's do 5 of these. Good. And I'm certainly feeling that in my glutes and my hamstrings. So the third variation, to make it a little bit harder, is not to use the chair at all. So we're just going to use balance. So when you think about balancing through that foot, really grip the ground with your toes. Two more. Nice. Beautiful. Deadlifts. So Deadlifts are a great exercise. Again, those posterior leg muscles, hamstrings, and glutes. Okay, next exercise we're going to do is lunges. And again, we're going to do these in two different ways. We're going to do just a regular static lunge. So with this one, you really want to make sure that your alignment is good. So you don't want to have that one foot right in behind the other. You want to keep them good, equidistant, hip width apart. So when we're doing our lunge, we're nice and balanced. You're up on the bottom, you're on the toes of the left leg, right leg, all the weight's on that right leg. Okay, and we're gonna go straight down. Think about the knee going straight down, your left knee going straight down to the mat, straight back up. My right leg's getting all the work today. Do one more. Okay, and now the progression of that is just to use your bench, your chair, your couch, and we're going to put the other leg up on that. This is actually called a Bulgarian lunge, I think because it was invented by Bulgarians, though I could be wrong. So again, hip width apart, straight down, and we're getting a little bit more tension now on that right leg because we're a little bit elevated and pushing up and down. Now you'll notice that I don't actually have shoes on. Your option on this, I like to do these without shoes just because it allows me to use my feet and my foot muscles, which I believe are a big key to balance and coordination. So you want to make sure you're using your feet and your muscles in your feet as well. So, you know, doing these exercises, there's not a lot of impact, but there's a lot of balance component. You can actually use the muscles in your feet. So the next exercise, it's actually important not to have shoes on because we want to slide. So I'm going to just come forward and I'll bend down. So we're going to do a lateral squat. So lateral squat, we're going to keep this left leg straight and we're going to slide out and come back up. And slide out and come back up. Let's do 5. Okay, so obviously do both sides. A set of 10, 15, whatever your limit is, whenever you can get to that 8 or 9 out of 10, go for it. So we've pretty much covered all the muscle groups in our legs. We got one more. The great thing about squats, deadlifts, lunges, they're multi-joint exercises. I'm using my ankles, my knees, my hips, using my shoulders, probably not so much, but all the other joints are working through the range of motion. So the last exercise we're going to do for legs is just calf raises. So to get a little bit more range of motion, you can go to your stairs and you just do them on the step. Hold on to the side if you're doing that. Or you can just do them here, right up on your toes, all the way down. Lift your whole body weight up on your toes, down. Think about pushing through your big toes. Your big toes are really important muscles or important components for balance and coordination. And the more they're engaged, the more they're strong, the more you work them, the better all those components, balance, coordination are going to be. Let's do 3 more. Feel that right through your calves. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Okay, shake out those legs. And I'm not a big believer in stretching between exercises. So what we're doing with strength training, we're activating the muscle fibers. We're telling our muscles, hey, we want you to be engaged, we want you to fire, we want you to contract. Stretching slows down that process. It tells your muscles to shut off and to stop. So what we want to do is not to really stretch in between exercises. We want to go do this full strength training exercise, and then maybe at a later point, this evening or this afternoon, you can do a stretching program. So we're going to try and do a few exercises for upper body. My strength training ideal workout, it involves a carry, a squat, a hinge, which is a deadlift, a lunge, a push, a pull, and some type of core exercises. So we're going to do some pushes next. So the best exercise for upper body with your body weight is just a push-up. So again, we can do this a number of different ways. We can do this an incline push-up from the couch, from a bench, just here and back up. The main thing about a push-up is to really make sure you're engaged through your core. It's almost more of a core workout than an upper body workout. So we do that, take that to the floor. Again, you can do this from your knees, but make sure that your core is engaged and your hips are going to the floor and back up. And back up. So let's take it to a full push-up. Now, one of the things that is a little trick is to really spread your palms. So engage the fascia, engage those connective tissues by really spreading your palms and really thinking about your toes, the same thing. Really engage the fascia down, and we'll just give you that nice elasticity to do those push-ups. Let's do 10. Nice. Okay, great exercise, push-ups. So that's a push. We're pushing up. We're getting some resistance for the back muscles when we come down, that eccentric work, but it's mainly a push. So how are we going to create a pull exercises with no resistance? So a good way of doing that is just, again, creating your own muscle tension. So these are called Superman punches. So you're just going to be lying face down, and the way you want to start this is with your toes on the mat and your forehead on the mat, and we're going to really squeeze those fists, really make a fist and engage those core muscles, engage your shoulder muscles, and then we're just going to pull. Pretend that you're pulling a really heavy band, and there's lots of resistance. Push your abdominals down into the mat. Really engage. So to make that a little harder, lift your head up off the mat. But keep your core engaged and keep that neutral spine. And then to make that even harder, lift the toes. Again, keep your core engaged, push your core into the mat, pull down. Awesome. Okay, let's finish off with a couple of core exercises. So one of the best ones is the plank. So right here, so the way I like to do the planks is with arms straight ahead. So cross like this. I see a lot of people doing their planks with their arms together. I prefer to do them this way. I just find that it keeps me more aligned and it allows me to actually engage more of my muscles by pushing down into the floor. So the more I push, the more I engage, the more I think about the muscles that are working, the more they're going to be activated. So if I go in a plank and I just lose my concentration, I'm really not going to be engaging the muscles as much as my joints, my connective tissue. So let's really focus on engaging the muscles, activating the muscles by actively pushing against the resistance. So here, elbows on the mat, toes together, push.
right down, push into the floor, like you're gonna go right down into the first floor. Push hard, hold, engage those core muscles. There's lots of variations. We can do a side step. We can do a reach. And we can do a up to straight arms, down to elbows. Up to straight arms, down to elbows. And then one of the other really good ones for your external obliques, the side muscles in your core, is a side plank. Number of variations with this also. To start off, probably best start with your knee. So think about a nice straight line from your elbow to your knee with your hips nice in the line, on that line, and your head back between your shoulders. Not up, not down, not forward, not back, straight line. Okay? So from there, we can take it to straightening out that bottom leg, lifting that knee off the ground, so we have a nice straight line, side plank. So we can make this a little harder by doing a little rotation. When we do this, think about rotating from your hip. Or we can do a little dip, engage those core muscles a little bit more. And again, take this to 80–90%. Nice. So there's two more exercises that I like to do for core, which engage the muscles and really connect everything together. So one is called a bird dog. And so this one, we're just on our hands and knees. So hips are over top of your knees, shoulders over top of your hands, and we're gonna just lift the opposite arm and leg and keep your body from rotating at all. So straight out, point your toe, point your finger, bring it back and touch. Core is engaged. It's an anti-rotational exercise. One more. And then the last one is called a dead bug. And you're gonna lie on the ground like a dead bug. And again, squeeze your fists. Create some muscle tension. Arms are straight up in the air. Knees are at 90 degrees. And we're gonna opposite arm and leg extend out to the ground. Pull it all the way back together. And again, think of everything in between your toes and your fist as working, connecting together. Pull it back, push it out, pull it back. Obviously both sides. So one other thing to mention is you do have some resistance around your house. So if you do have, a can of beans, organic navy beans, you can do a lot of resistance exercises just by engaging a little bit of weight. This is like, half a pound maybe. So one of the things that, is a good one to do is a pull. So with this one, taking your bench, supporting yourself, and keeping your knees a little bit bent, and using a little resistance to pull that elbow back and into your side. Pull up and in. So a little bit more of that upper body exercise, pulling back and in. So I hope that helps. I'll try to put together something else with maybe some other household items that you can use to engage your body in resistance training, strength training. 30 minutes. If you do that 2 or 3 sets of those exercises, should take you 30 to 45 minutes. Do that twice a week.
you will be stronger. Thank you.